it's time to dish with D. That's me. Thank you for coming to this video. I hope this video helps somebody, because I know we all go through this, and I just wanted to share with you what I'm going through, and I hope that it helps somebody. Now, if this sets you off, please click out. You don't have to watch it. There's not going to be a montage of my deceased puppy. I don't, it's not something I'm not into. Like, I just want to share the trials and tribulations and the normalcy of grief. And grief can come from anything and anyone. I know a lot of my lovelies here have lost spouses, children, friends, pets, loved ones, parents. So grief can come from a loss of anything that you love, and it just comes, and I just want to share my takeaway, my, going forward, and, what I ask of you, because you guys are like my lifeline. And yeah, maybe I might need some support. Grief is a process. That's what they say. I've grieved my parents. I've lost both my parents. So I've grieved, I've grieved loved ones. I've never grieved, and I've had pets, never had a dog. So that's totally different. I don't want to spend too much time on my personal grief. I want to do grief in general so I can get through this, because, like I said, nobody wants to see somebody crying because it sets somebody off, and I don't want to do that. I just want to help people, and I want to share my experience and hope that it helps somebody, because you know what? We're all here to support each other. And like I say, grief comes in waves. There's times I'm not crying at all, and there's times I'm constantly crying over the stupidest of things, and it's not stupid in a sense, because it's the little things that make you think of that, whatever you're grieving over. Like I said, it could be something like so microscopic when you think about it to somebody else, but to you, it's everything. So you never know what's going to set you off. And there's no timeline, like, oh, just get over it. Or they've been gone a while now, or you knew it was coming. People try to be helpful. They do. But it's just, we all grieve differently. We all do. So there's no timeline. You could grieve probably for the rest of your life sometimes. It's just getting it in check. Like, I'm hopeful that things will get better, that I will be able to think of things and not cry. Who knows? Time will tell. It's still been a few days. It's not been that long, so I really can't expect much right now. Everyone grieves differently. Not everyone cries. No, so people just, and you can't expect somebody to react the way that you react. So that is unfair to put on people, like, well, they're not crying. They must not be upset as I am. Not everybody shows emotion. Not everybody shows emotion in public. I'm not usually a public emotion shower for the most part. Like, I remember my mother's viewing and funeral, people were like that I wasn't, even my father. I'm a private crier. I am. So very rare. I get filled up, but I very rarely sob in front of people. Well, only my kids and my husband may be the only ones, but really I don't. I hold it in because, I don't know. It's just always been that way. My mother always called me the ice princess for a reason, I guess. But there's always this air of sadness. And I don't want to always feel so sad. Because sometimes, I think sadness is for the people that are left behind. I'm hopeful that when people pass, dogs pass, family, that they're in a better place. They're not sad anymore. And that's what gets me through. I hope that gets you through, because I feel like sadness is just for us, not for them. So I'm hopeful that they're not sad anymore. That they're happy, pain-free, and just enjoying the rest of whatever eternity is. And that's my hope. And that's what gets me. And I always say that, it's only sad for the people that are left behind. We have to maneuver life. They're at the place that we all are going to be someday. We are. Focus on the memories, the good times. Because I'm sure there's a lot of good times that you've had with whomever and whatever you're grieving. There is. So focus on that. Don't focus on the end. Though it may be hard, because that's the last memory you have. Just focus on the good things. What I want to do going forward. Now, I say this because last night I was sitting. I haven't eaten great all week. I have not eaten at all. honestly. I have eaten very less all week. I just have not. Some people uh, emotionally eat. I tend to not. I tend to emotionally not eat. But last night, I don't know, I felt like I turned this weird corner. I just wanted chocolate. And I had some chocolates. Steve had one of these Trader Joe's bars. I started eating that. And then I had gotten, last week we were at the popcorn factory. And I got this raspberry white chocolate covered popcorn. I opened that bag up and I put it in a bowl. It wasn't a huge bag. It wasn't big. But I usually get the small one. This was the medium sized one. So I was eating it and I was sharing it with everybody. And I'm going back and forth and I'm like going, well, you're grieving, it's okay, you're grieving. And I'm like, and I thought about it this morning, I'm like, don't. And that's why I'm making this video. Don't allow sadness to ruin your journey, to put you farther back. Like, that's just going to make everything worse. Like, I guess I was just in my own head last night, which is weird because, like I said, I wasn't eating all week, and then last night I decided to eat all this chocolate-covered popcorn and chocolate. Steve had one of those I'm talking the 1-pounders. You know what I'm talking about from Trader Joe's? I didn't eat the whole 1-pounder. I ate about 4 squares of it, and I sat there, and I'm like, you say to yourself, well, you're sad. This will make you feel better. And I'm always saying that never make, and I know this. But I still got caught up in grief. And then I started to blame grief. Well, it's grief. You're kind of allowed to do this. It's grief. And honestly, I guess you are allowed to do it. I don't know. I guess everybody has their own timeline, their own way of grieving. And I don't want mine to be about food. Sweets, actually. And I needed to make this video because I know I'm not the only one going through it. And I needed to if I put it out to you guys, I'm more accountable. That's why I love this channel, because I'm more accountable, because I have people looking at me going, okay, let's see what she's going to do. Is she going to do it? And I'm like, yeah, no, I am not going to do that and make an ass out of myself on YouTube. So yeah, I put it out here for accountability. I'm putting it out here. I need help. I need to say it. Yes, I ate my face off last night. I did, for the first time all week. And it was chocolate. It was lots of chocolate. Yeah. And you know what? I deserve better than that. His memory deserves better than that. And I thought to myself, I want to do things to better myself. I don't want to wallow in my grief that I've lost all my progress. Then where am I going to be then? I'm going to be still grieving because nothing's going to change there. And I'm going to be heavier. And do I need to lose even more weight? Like, I'm already struggling with this, 10, 11 pounds. Do I need to add more to that? No, I don't. So I got up this morning and I thought, you're going to make yourself a nice comfort breakfast, a nice healthy comfort breakfast. And I will show that at the end. I made my veggie hash because I love my veggie hash. And it was comforting. It was a beautiful plate of food. It was vegetables and shredded potatoes and a chicken sausage and an egg white. You know what? And I am putting my foot forward and I'm saying I'm not going to let my sadness ruin because then I'm really going to be in a shithole. Because, grief doesn't get better. And you're going to add depression for gaining weight onto that, Denise? You're better than that. I'm better than that. I'm better than that. So I needed to make this video. As hard as this video is to make, I needed to put myself out there and I needed to do it. I needed to rip the Band-Aid off. You know what? And also, I've talked to myself. I mentioned to Peter, and he said it was a good idea. I said I want to keep up the walking. I mean, I always walk, but Bailey was a very structured walker. He was very structured in life. I mean, he liked his walks at certain times of the day. 7:30, 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 7:15. That's are his walk times. I mean, we all look at the clocks at those times because remember, that's his times. So I want to keep up with that. I want to keep up with his schedule. Because you know what? It was good for me too. I could honor him and do that. So I definitely need to keep that up. And I need to stop, with the food comfort. And I know better than this because I say it all the time. It comforts you for a moment. And then once it's digested, you're like, why did I do that? You know what? So me making this video is hopefully throwing somebody a lifeline, throwing myself a lifeline, let's face it, because I owe myself better, and I owe the memory of that person who I lost, or my dog, better. You know? You owe them that. You owe them the chance to do better for you. You know? Because then at least, you know, you're doing it for their memory. And they're watching and being proud of you. And that's, you know, that's something I believe. I do. You know, I don't want to, I'm reading my thing. I don't want to slide backwards. And then what? Blame grief? Blame him? That's not fair to him. It's not his fault. You know? But that's what we do. And then, you know, like I said, it's something that we all go through. Or we all go through it differently. But there's, you know, like I said, and if you need help, if your grief is overwhelming, you should really talk to somebody. You should really reach out to somebody, a professional perhaps, because yes, grief is sad and grief is normal, but it can't encompass your life. And I feel like for me right now, mornings are bad. I think because it's the routine. I think when it's the routine time and things I'm used to doing, that's when it hits me. Other times, I'm like, I hold it together. I said, I hold it together pretty well for the most part. It's just those times and that you're just, because he was schedule oriented, so I became the schedule. So I knew this, it just was like, and then when he was going off kilter, you kind of knew. But, you know, you don't want to lose the person that person made you become, you know, like don't lose the change and the good part that they helped with you, you know, like, you know, I want to look at the positives. Him getting me off the couch. I'm active, bending, stooping. I mean, you know, he was tiny. I had to stoop a lot. So I don't want to stop stooping and bending. I mean, I can do it, so I should. So just think of the takeaways are, what did they do for you? What did they change in you? And how could you honor them? And that's what I want to do going forward. I don't want to wallow in just the sadness. It's hard. Sure it is, because sadness is easy. You know, it's the happiness that's hard, because sadness is right there. You could grab it. You have to really search for the happiness and the happy moments. They're there. It's easier to look at the sad ones because they're right at the surface. You have to dig for the happy ones. Just have to dig deep. But yeah, I really, yesterday was, it's funny because each day you go through different stages. I mean, I didn't go through the typical stages of grief. Like there's always anger and denial and all that. I think I went through that like a few weeks ago because I knew this decision was coming. I knew it. I've said it on videos. I've said it. I've said it. And I think I've been through all that. And, you know, once I finally said it out loud to the vet, you know, when we talked about it, you know, I knew that it had to be done. It had to be done when quality of life takes precedence over everything. And I've said, you know, since he was 8 weeks old, it's going to be the easiest, hardest decision I will ever make, because he will never suffer. I will not allow it. And they don't understand it. So I say that easy and hard at the same time, because I had no trouble saying that, you know, because I would never want him to suffer. Nope, doesn't deserve it. It would not have happened on my watch. You know, it's boys didn't understand it, but you know what? They do and they don't. Like, I think the ones that are here, like Peter, who dealt with him more than any of them, he understood because he saw it. You know what? It's hard. It's hard when they're older and they have problems. It's really hard. You know, I will say it was such a peaceful, you know, it was very peaceful for him. And, you know, he's somewhere chasing bunnies, and I have to believe that. You know, I do. And like I said, if anybody is going through grief, you know, I understand, and my condolences, but we don't want it to encompass our life. take away from our goal and what we want to achieve. We want to achieve health, and health has got to be priority over everything. I mean, you cannot let a tragedy or sadness take away from your goal. And I have to fight every day right now to keep myself focused on what I need to do, and not focus on how sad I feel, because, we have to just continue with the positives. Life from here on out's different. Yeah, I mean, every morning is different. I'm used to the routine. Like I said, he was very routine oriented. We had a routine. He walked at a certain time. He ate at a certain time. It's just, that's how life was. And, now it's all different. And how am I going to navigate that with positivity and happiness? And like I said, trying to keep focused on what I can do to honor him and not blame him for why it would slide. You know what? Nobody, we all want to go forward. It's about putting our first foot forward. And, and it's a whole, for us here, it's a whole new way of life. It's just a whole dynamic is going to change. Granted, the dynamic changed when he came, so dynamic's going to change now he's not here. And we had him almost 13 years. So, I mean, there was life before him. So there is going to be life after him. So it's just trying to figure it out and put one foot in front of the other every day, and trying to make the best decisions and not make decisions on emotion, which is a hard one. I didn't think last night I was very emotional. And I just let it, which I don't normally. I think that's another thing. I'm like, I don't normally do that. So it is kind of strange for me. But also, I mean, it's navigation, and it's telling the people that you live with that what you're going through, and they'll help. Like, if they don't know, if you don't tell them, nobody knows. If you don't say how you feel, how will anybody know that you need help? Like, you can't always keep it inside. You have to let it out. And I think me doing this video, I'm hoping it touches somebody and letting it out for me, and I could watch it back, and like, if I'm having a bad day and I'm thinking of wallowing in my self-pity, I could put this video on and go, oh, you remember what that, and always remember, think about how you feel after you've eaten it. Is it like, do you feel really good about yourself? Do you feel really like, no, I think we always feel guilty. It's like, oh my God. It's hard, my lovelies. It is hard. And you know this. Like I said, I'm not the only one that's ever gone through this. I am not trailblazing any path, that's for sure. I am just videoing my path and hoping that somebody finds this video and it helps them and it knows that they're not alone, because we all go through it somewhere or another. I mean, and when I've read all the comments, thank you so much, you guys, the comments, that was a whole couple of hours of crying, getting through the Facebook comments, the YouTube comments, the Instagram comments. It took me over 2 hours of sobbing because we all wrote so nice. And what I learned was, I mean, so many comments, people had just lost their beloved pets. Like, it's that week, the week prior, it's like, it happens every day. And it's like, yeah, it's tough. It is tough. It's hard. They hold on to a special place of your heart, and they'll always be there. And, hopefully someday I'll experience that again. I'm not ruling it out. Not right now. I just need so many things that need to get done. We have remodeling to do. And the sad part is, I hate to say it like this, but we always wanted to do things in the house. But having Bailey, especially the last 6 years, he's been didn't like people coming in the house. We had the bathroom done probably 2016. I think that's when we had the bathroom redone. We had one of those tub units put in, and they painted the whole thing. We got a new, whole thing was like pretty much gutted. And luckily they were upstairs because he was a mess. And it just got progressively worse. Anxiety. He wound up getting really bad anxiety. So I could never, we've put off getting things done because we couldn't bring somebody here because it would have upset him too much. It would have. And we always would say, well, when, because let's face it, he wasn't going to live forever. I knew that. So we always said, well, once Bailey goes and, we'll get, so now it's like, now we're like thinking, okay, before we go through this again, I think we need to do some, we need to, I need, we need new windows. I could use carpeting. Like, there's a lot. We've never done really anything to this house. We've been here for 20, Timmy's 26 years, 27 years, I think, 27. And I mean, it was fairly new when we moved. I think it was like 12 years old. So it was fairly new, but you want to make it, but we never really did that. Steve painted rooms, so we painted walls and stuff, but there's just things like we want carpeting, we want windows. We've done roofs and heaters and stuff like that. Well, you got to do those, but we've never really done any major renovations. So I think that's, what we're going to work on first, is doing some renovations that need to be done. And then, down the line, we'll see where that takes us. Like I said, I think down the line, I think we will eventually get another one. I think, yeah, we're dog people. So, but anyway, so I hope this video helped somebody. I do. Like I said, thank you so much for your messages, texts, comments. I've read every one of them. I tried to heart every one of them. So many of you liked seeing him on the videos, and half the time I didn't even know he was there. Like I was telling the boys, like I would have the camera down on the cutting board, and you could see the floor, and he'd see. I never, because I was so focused on what I was doing, I never even. Plus the time he was so quiet, I didn't really know he was there. And like I go back, and how many videos is he in? So yeah, he has a little fan base. A lot of people would mention Bailey. And what's weird is my last vlog, I picked him up and I put him into the camera, which I very rarely did that. I mean, I would